Hey guys, it's Silversnorlax. I am back today responding to my Ask Silversnorlax video. I posted it not all that long ago. Lots of really good questions you guys asked. I'm happy to come out and answer them. I've got a small list here in front of me. I'm going to be answering as many as I can. This may be divided up into two parts depending on time here. Of course, I'm going to mention right now, if you have additional questions or if your question wasn't answered, you're more than welcome to comment below. Just whatever you want to ask about me, about PSA, about my collection, whatever you want. Definitely feel free to ask. But I'm going to go ahead and go over a lot of the questions that I thought were definitely good enough to make this video, and I hope you guys enjoy. Question number one. What inspired you to start collecting? Seems like for a good while you weren't interested in the Pokemon TCG. What was the spark that got you back into it? Okay, this is kind of a multi-part question. What got me back into Pokemon, just Pokemon in its entirety. Because I did leave for a while. I completely stopped collecting the cards when I hit a certain age. I want to say it was like 11 or 12 maybe. And I left because I was hitting that age where people were like, oh, this isn't cool anymore, this is for kids, blah blah blah. And that's not unusual to see with Pokemon, so I just kind of moved away from it. Did a couple other things for a while, but the thing that got me back into it, my brother, at the time he was, I think 12, entered a Pokemon tournament, and it was one of the bigger ones held by the Pokemon company. They come around, they tour different cities, and it was video game related. So that's where I kind of sparked my interest back into Pokemon a little bit. I knew my brother had this tournament coming up, and we thought it was going to be fun just to go and play. We figured we'd get dominated and blown out of the water, but we figured, you know what, let's just go and have fun and just kind of see how it goes. Well, we went to the event, and he played in the 12 and under division, and there was a doubles format, so we learned a little about doubles, and it was Uber based for those of you that play the video games. But we ran a really successful team. He ran all the way through basically it was our regional, and he ended up winning the whole thing, and he got a nice medal out of it. You can see I have the medal wrapped around my Snorlax there. And that's really kind of what brought me straight back into Pokemon. I thought, you know what, we're actually not too bad at this. It was our very first tournament. We had no experience going in. I mean, we really didn't, you know, read anything online or anything about it. We just built a team and said, let's see how this works. And turns out we were better than we thought we were. So we thought we had some potential there, and we actually ended up getting flown out to New York City to compete against everybody else, and unfortunately in the New York region we lost. That's, I guess back then that would be considered the worlds of the tournament, but we lost to the guy that ended up getting second place overall, and he's actually a very good video gamer. We still know the guy, but yeah, he ended up losing first round. We were devastated by that, but we busted out the Game Boy. We actually ended up facing quite a few adults, and he just wrecked people. I mean, he just ran straight through people outside of the tournament setting. People using their teams. I mean, we kind of dominated outside of the tournament setting. So we were kind of like, you know, we still have something here that we can work with. Let's see if we can't continue it. And we went and we competed next year, and we did all right. Actually, was it next year? It might have been the year after even. But we just came, and we just kind of do it for fun if we compete at VGCs. And that's really what sparked my interest back into Pokemon in itself. So I've covered that in videos before, but what really kind of sparked me into the TCG aspect, I forget what exactly it was. I was on YouTube looking at random videos to pass the time, I guess, and I ran into one video that had PSA Pokemon cards in it, and it was by this guy named Pokepix, and it was some kind of British PokeTuber who had this collection of PSA encapsulated cards from the base set, and I was absolutely fascinated by it. The cases, the way the cards looked, I was just really drawn into it. So that's really what had me come back into the TCG aspect of Pokemon. I've been interested in Pokemon for probably a year or two. Well, actually longer than that, a couple years, but just not the TCG. But when I found that video and just the way the cases looked and the cards looked, it really brought back a lot of feelings of how I felt when I was younger. So there was a lot of nostalgia there, and that's really what intrigued me with the TCG aspect of it. So that's when I started to do my research. I started to look at PSA cards and PSA collecting, and found out the prices and started to put money away because I think I was still in college at the time. I was just finishing up. But I decided, you know what, long term I would like to do this. I would like to put videos up on YouTube and see what happens. So thought maybe I might make a few bucks out of it. As I found out very quickly, there's like no money to make in Pokemon, especially if you have partnerships, something like that. You can make a little bit, but it's very little. So I just do it for fun these days. That's a big part of it, and that's really what that spark that got me back into it was just. There were just a lot of factors. It was me going to a tournament with my brother, feeling that rush of winning, moving on, feeling that heavy defeat, kind of rebuilding myself a little bit, and then finally, one day, just by luck, looking on YouTube and found people that did this. So really, that's what sparked my interest. We'll move along to question number 2 after the 5.5-minute question. Number 2, how long have you been collecting PSA cards / cards in general, and how many do you own? Good question. How long have I been collecting PSA cards? I want to say it's about a little bit over a year. Actually collecting them, I mean, I was researching them way before that. Probably about 2 years worth of experience doing that, following stuff. I've been collecting cards, just the raw cards in general. I started when I was about 9 years old, and I'm 24 now, so do the math on that one. And of course, it started with the base set and all the earlier Wizards of the Coast sets. That's when I really started to collect them. Fell out for a while. There's a gap in my collection that's very large. Not interested in E-Series. Some of the other EX sets. I mean, if you were to ask me about those cards, I don't have a lot of knowledge on them. So that's really where my gap is, but I came back into it at the very end of Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Black and White is where I really consider coming back into the collection with the 5th gen. As far as to how many cards I own, good question. I know I've got thousands of cards. Might be more than that even. Might be, I'd say a couple thousand. Less than 10,000, I'll put it that way. But most of those are commons and uncommons that reside in a card storage box. As far as the rare cards I own, I've got well over 70 holos, I know that much. A number of reverse rares, over 100 I think. Plenty of EXs, a couple of full arts, and then of course the PSA collection, which is absolutely gigantic. So there's a lot there. There's a lot of cards involved there. My PSA collection, I think I'm over 100 cards right now. I'm not entirely sure. But I actually just had some base set stuff come in, so that number is probably about 100 at this point in time. Question number 3, and a question I got a lot of. What are your top 5 favorite PSA graded cards that you have? I also got a lot of variations of this card. What is your favorite card? What is your favorite PSA card? What raw cards? I got a lot of questions involving that. So here's what I've decided to do. Good news for you guys. I will be uploading a separate video showcasing my top 5 favorite PSA graded cards, and you'll get to hear me ramble on about those. So you will get a video upload of that sometime in the future. I'm not sure. I'd like to do that inside of the next week or two, but we'll see as we go. Question number 4. Do you have any hobbies outside of collecting? The answer is yes. I do a couple of things. I'm actually rather boring. I do play video games. That's something I like to do casually. For the longest time, I studied and built VGC decks again, or not decks, VGC teams. I was big into that. That was a big thing for me. Spent a lot of time doing that. I've kind of fallen out of that in the past year, maybe 2 years. Part of that's because my brother just doesn't have time, and I like doing it with him. And that's kind of what makes it special for me. So that's what I really enjoy doing, is doing that stuff with him. And but he's been busy with school. He just started college. He's doing really well. He's a bright kid, so I'm happy for him there, definitely. But really, it's not as much fun if I don't do it with someone. So that's kind of why I've fallen out of it. We've been talking about it. We would like to get back into it. I mean, obviously, time is our biggest thing. So the time we spend together is kind of crucial. But among the things that I do that are hobby related, I do play video games. I play them casually, not just VGC related stuff. To this day, I still play Super Smash Bros. Melee. I absolutely love that game. Melee was one of the best games that ever came out on the GameCube, and I still just fire it up probably a couple times a week and just just mess around with it. I'm not all that good, but I have fun, so that's all that really matters. Other hobbies, I'm not sure if you'd call it a hobby or not. I hang out with my girlfriend as much as humanly possible. Just being with her, I don't know if I'd necessarily consider that a hobby as much as living life, but probably dedicate just as much, well, even more time than a hobby. So there's that as well. And you know, just kind of fun stuff in general. Anything I can find. You know, I'm not prone to saying no to hanging out with friends or anything like that. You know, if we want to go out to the bar or something and just have a nice night, we do that. That's not too unusual. So just, hey, whatever, hang out with friends, girlfriend, video games, Pokemon. I'm a couple different things, but ultimately I think I'm kind of a boring human being. So but you know, I try to live life, so that's the way I approach that. Question number 5. Are you still accepting cards to get graded? Question I get all the time through PM and everything else, and I hope I can answer this for you guys in one swift message. The answer is yes. I am always accepting cards to get graded. Doesn't matter what time of year it is, what month it is. I collect them year round. I send out a PSA round approximately every 6 weeks. 6 weeks apart, so I can actually get enough users to send cards in, figure out how much money I'm going to owe, apply discounts as needed, and file the paperwork. That takes me forever to do because I triple check everything, because I'm very OCD about making sure everybody's cards are accounted for and safe and done right. That's the big thing. When you send with me, I do everything correctly, because I would never want to see anything happen. But so far I've done many rounds. We've done like 10 rounds so far, and all of them have gone off without a hitch. Everybody very happy. Good stuff by and large. But to answer anybody's questions about that, I'm always collecting cards for PSA sending, so just send me a message. I send you an information video, which I actually need to update, and we can get everything sorted out for you and figured out, and we'll be on our way, basically. So yes, always sending cards for PSA grading. Doesn't matter what time of year. I never wait for a certain month or a certain deal. I'm always sending cards. So I think that's going to do it for part 1 of this series. I've actually gotten several more questions. I'm just very wordy with my answers, so hope you guys enjoyed. There will be a part 2 up. I'm not sure when, but there will definitely be a part 2, and with lots more questions. And like I stated before, if you have more questions, just throw them down in the comments below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. New upload again soon.